Hello everybody, I'm Louise Winchester, the spiritual business mentor and the founder of Sacred Space, and this is Laura Ansell, the happiness coach. Hello everybody. We're coming to you here live from the store, which is in Sydney, Australia, Manly, and we're going to be talking today about the Ascension energy, and it's a little bit different this week. Spirit doesn't want me to talk quite so much about crystals or things or stuff in the store, so I have a few bits and pieces lined up here because the energy keeps shifting. And the purpose of this discussion today is going to be about the spiritual evolution of our planet. It's quite deep, so there's going to be lots of different aspects of this coming up. So over the last couple of weeks, the energy that I have been feeling collectively. I had an experience a couple of weeks ago where I had days and days of feeling like there was these two pillars of energy in my energy field that were, I suppose the only way to describe it is some form of agitation. And I kept seeing visions of black and white lines, and then I saw a vision of very jagged lines, and so I consulted someone very special to me about this, and that person had been getting exactly the same thing coming through, and it's directly connected to the tectonic plates and some big plate movement that's going to occur at a planetary level. And I don't want people to go into fear about it because we will be where we're supposed to be. We just need to actually stay centered and grounded and keep cleaning our energy religiously, day and night, with what we're interacting with and what's in our physical space. And there seems to be a lot of it's actually a cloud of collective fear and doom that's circling, which is directly connected to Mother Nature, the divine light and the divine dark, which seems to be doing a mass awakening at a planetary level, especially at the moment here in Australia. The fires have been absolutely horrific, and I just want to lift the energy around what's actually been going on at a planetary level in Australia, and give a bit of perspective on how I see it, and open it up to possibly how Laura might see it and everybody that's on the call. So the way that I'm seeing the energy is that Mother Nature is trying to awaken mass consciousness by sacrificing almost her own self, her own land, her own species. It's a way of speaking of the depths of the annihilation that it will go to. It's like almost like saying, they're showing me, the Greek mum who says, "You kill me, you're hurting myself," right? Like the dramatics of that, where she's trying to get people's attention. She's sacrificing herself and her own species in order for people to start to awaken. And it's very sad. It's very sad indeed. 10 years ago, I don't know if anybody knows, but I used to work in construction, and I spent 2 years studying sustainability and climate change. And the trouble in Australia is that the resistance is quite entrenched into not taking action. So there are many countries out there that have already taken action, completely believe in climate change, and are acting on climate strategies in order for the population to survive better through the disasters. And there's some sort of shift in the collective, what's the right word for this? I'm struggling for words, psyche of the population that has to change in Australia, where they believe that this is real, rather than denying it from it being real and then not acting. It's easier not to act. It's easier not to do anything.
Denial.
Yeah, well, then you can go on blissfully carrying out whatever you were doing before. There are crystal frequencies at the moment that are coming in. We are energetically going through a big shift in our energy fields. I don't know if anybody else has been feeling that their Earth star is going through an upgrade, and so is the base chakra. So a lot of fear-based consciousness is actually rising in us. We don't know what we're doing, where we're going. We know what we want, but we don't know where we fit. And there's all this sort of push of polarity actually happening. Did you want to talk about what you've actually been feeling?
Yeah, I had that. That started for me when I got here, which was it started in July for me, where I suddenly had all this fear come up in me, and I was worrying and afraid of things that I would never worry me before, or never even occur to me. So I started to notice that as I connected more to the earth, as I got here and I was spending more time outside in nature, the more I connected with it, the more the fear was coming out and coming through. But it woke me up. That's the thing. And that's what the fires are doing, and that's what there's going to be stuff in quite a few different places. Australia, Japan's going to have a few things as well. There's things everywhere, but it is to wake people up, and it's woken me up, so I'm grateful. It did wake me up, but it's here to rebirth people, to move people's consciousness. And it's people deny things and they just say, oh, it's fine, it's not in my area, I'm not seeing it. But when you wake up every day and you see smoke, then suddenly it is your problem. And when you're seeing people being evacuated, it has to kind of be on people's doorsteps for them to wake up and see it. Otherwise, people do. As long as I can get to work, as long as I can have my coffee in the morning, as long as I can whatever, then people don't seem to really care. People are very self-absorbed in their own worlds, but there's a whole world out there. So it does wake people up, and I think that's why it's happening. I do consider it a rebirth to a degree. It unites people. It brings people together.
One of the things I learned when I was doing the sustainability and climate change work is that only through suffering will people actually, it's like only through a broken heart will they awaken to act. And this is very unfortunate. Now, because of media, we're getting exposed to like all the stories simultaneously every single day, and obviously we're tuning into it as well. And I'm not suggesting that you don't tune into this, because I think everybody needs to be aware of what's happening and being destroyed, and the lives that are being lost and the homes that are being lost as a result of it. Now, what I would say to you is, before Christmas, I wrote a post which was about 2020. It was about the light workers that are needed, the people that are needed in positions of power, or to take over positions of power from the patriarch. And more and more and more we can see, I was watching last night, there are people rebelling abusively to the Prime Minister, which I don't know whether I'm going to get slated for it or not, but I don't really care. I think it's a bloody good thing. We actually would do better if we had more female people in positions of power, and I know that there's a state premier that's in power, but I don't know. Women just have more empathy, more compassion, more ability to actually serve community, rather than men who seem to be ego-driven, greedy. And I'm not the master of all of this, and politics is not my field of expertise. But what I would say is that in that post that I was writing, we really need to get ultra clear about how best we can serve, and actually start to do some voluntary work which assists in this change. It's no good just going, okay, well, I'm just going to do this, and I want you to watch out for your motivations around where it is that you're positioning your energy as a light worker or as a spiritually awakened individual. There needs to be some discernment about your direction and how you use your time here, because if not, if your consciousness is thinking about, oh, I'm going to click on that how to manifest course, it's not the right alignment for you energetically. That's just a distraction, and it's connected to the old way of being. It's not connected to the new way of being. The new way of being is following, like, absorbing new skills and things and connections with people that feed your soul, that you're inspired to be connected to, that you're inspired to serve others with. You're in the flow of the creative energy, whether you make money or you don't make money. It's your old survival mechanisms of what used to drive you, that by the time you're 60, you've got to have this money set aside, you've got to have a house, you've got to have this, you've got to have that. All of that has to drop away, because honestly, life is a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And we're here to help each other.
Yeah, it's funny letting that go, because a lot of the light workers and starseeds, some of them don't have that, which is great, and they're kind of teaching others. People are trying to have a nest, have enough money for when people are literally setting themselves up for when they die, and it's all about their own life and the focused. And meditation's great for the earth and all these things, but also getting out there. The earth is physical, so being out there physically and helping and doing things to, I used to never be a big fan of activism, because I think that some people do it the wrong way. They try and instill fear to get people's message, and that doesn't work. It has to be done with love. But I also believe that there's a way of making people aware, like what we're doing now, with love rather than fear, making people aware of what's actually happening, because people don't actually understand what's going on.
No. But
And this is
when you can channel energy and you can ask spirit to show you the bigger picture on a specific thing or a specific energy, it gives you a broader view of what's actually going on. And it wasn't until I actually went into that planetary energy, and it's probably about a year ago, first time I ever connected. I've spent my life dealing with astral energies interdimensionally, and about a year ago I actually connected with Divine Dark, which is almost like the gatekeeper of karma, and trying to sort of understand that perception of the light and dark balance, but it's only at a divine level. It's not it's a cause and effect level. It's not at the level of infiltration of the hologram, of almost like self-serving monster energy. Yeah. So it's quite a unique journey to go to that depth and actually have a look at what it's like for Mother Nature to be purging whole rainforest. It's not really rainforest, it's bush, but all the way down our coast. We've just had last night an area 250 kilometres of coastline being evacuated. It's an enormous section getting wiped out again. I don't know, we've lost about, I've seen statistical figures, but it's just incredible proportions of land being devastated.
Yeah.
And I expect it grows back, but how many species get extinguished in that process?
Yeah.
The phoenix is coming in. It's the phoenix.
Yeah. It does bring a certain level of power that, like, when I think one of the reasons why people don't deal with it is because, like, when I first went into it, it was so sensitive that it was extremely painful. Like, I can't see, if I see someone hurting an animal or screaming at a child, I can't even cope with it. It's horrible. And I remember when I went to Bondi, and I was really, really sensitive, and I could see people walking around on the rocks where it's so sacred with their shoes on, they had plastic bags and they're putting in the water playing with the fish, and I had to leave. I started crying. I was like, take your shoes off, stop putting your bags in the water, leave the fish alone, like leave her alone. Mother Nature is so sensitive and delicate right now. People are completely oblivious to what they're actually living on. And that was really painful for me to go in and see that. Now that I've seen it and come out the other side, it brings up that phoenix within me to make me think, okay, what can I do? You know? But it is very painful when you first go into it.
So there was a key there. What can I do?
Yeah.
What can we all do? So I urge you to dial into what you can do. A while back, I was a complete activist when it came to climate change at a corporate level. It was very much a bit of a witch hunt, even though I managed to get a few things over the line. And I would be quite happy to connect with anybody out there that has sustainability, climate change policy, or something they want to create in their local area that they want to do. I would be happy to help in any way.
Yep.
So let's go a bit more esoteric off of that. Well, even that's an esoteric view of it. Let's see who's on the call and see if anybody's got any questions right now. I suspect Penelope's there. This one?
Yeah.
This is an aragonite.
It reminds me of the ocean. It looks like a little coral.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, this is an aragonite. Has anybody got any questions? I'll just take a sip of my large plastic cup. Bad cat. You need it to hold alive like this.
You do. You do.
It's quite a big energy to hold. I'll just... No questions. Who's on the call? It's funny how one's on, one's dropped off, two drop off,
4 come in.
4 come in. No? Okay. No takers. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the energy field. So in the last week or so, I've been feeling these shifts in the Earth Star. If you've already done work in meditation and been upgrading your light body progressively, you already would have ascended your Earth Star into the 5th dimensional frequency. But I feel like the Earth Star is actually sort of trying to find its new footing or its new timelines in order to kind of latch on to the next way forward. There is a state of disconnect between the heart, the head, and the base chakra and the foundations. So I actually have put on the table quite a few different crystals which might assist in that process. The first one I'm going to talk about is... Actually, sorry, it's not one. Okay, so the aragonite, which is like a cluster of crystals. Now, there were some words that was on the card just a second ago.
Do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, have you seen the video of the happiness, I think it's like the happiness molecule?
This is why.
On Instagram?
I only saw one word off of this yesterday, and I knew that this crystal was like connected to what I was going to be talking today about. And when I've been working with a council of light beings that are connected to a specific ascended master called Dwal Kul. That's DJWAL space KHUL. He's, or short for DK. And he was a Tibetan master, and funnily enough, I looked him up on Wikipedia this morning, and he's connected to the spiritual evolution of our planet, which is what we were just talking about. And what's the relevance of this? Okay, the connection to this crystal right here, the aragonite, is an earth healer. So this crystal is connected to actually healing the earth. It's a grounding stone, and it's attuned to Gaia. It encourages conservation and recycling. And we need to, like, conservation of resources and recycling of resources is exactly where we should be putting our focus for the future. You can place a crystal in your energy field, and you can meditate and take your consciousness down and actually start breathing in and out of that. Like, I always tell people about placing a crystal over their heart and taking their head into their heart, but actually the next level of doing that kind of stuff is to place a crystal in your energy field, in a specific part of it, and then take your consciousness down and then start breathing in and out of the frequency in that location. So even if you don't have one of these aragonite crystals or cluster, I would suggest that you just visualize and mentally call in the word of the brown aragonite cluster and place it in your earth star, and start tuning your consciousness into requesting to rebalance your earth star. And here's a brown aragonite, which you could also use. This is a different type of brown aragonite, very similar to the other one, but it's just not in a cluster form. There is blue aragonite, but that's dyed. And then, because I'm going to go into these three right here, because we are experiencing increased emotional connection to the stories and the suffering of others, I would say whenever you're impacted, you could always run a blue lace agate through your field, which is a beautiful soft energy. Apache tears. Sorry, that's a tektite. It looks like this. I've run out. Apologies. Apache tears is a really good one because obviously we're purifying, and a lot of people don't realize, but tears are actually alchemy. So as we witness something outside of ourselves, some other form of suffering, it triggers a memory in our own, like a recognition of suffering where we've experienced something like it, or we're reminded of that energy, and it surfaces out of the organs in the body, and it rises up and it gets expelled by tears. And alchemy is the transformation of density to light, and that energy coming up and out of yourself. And also you can get what actually happens is you can get a widening of the chakra that actually, like, it stretches. It's a movement in the chakra. It's an earthquake in the chakra. Yeah. And this is particularly present in your energy when your heart, like when something impacts you in the heart and you feel like your heart breaks, because your heart chakra is actually going like this and moving and kind of ripping apart to push it through level, or to allow it to, like, they're showing me a flower where it almost like throws off its like leaves and then it has to grow a new chakra. Chakra tears is something totally different. So you can actually tear your chakra when you're doing that, but Apache tears is probably the best frequency to run through your energy when something like that's happening.
Shanghai?
Yeah, I was actually going out.
That was more me.
Yeah, selenite. Sleep with it.
Yeah, I sleep with it. I've got a big pebble on it.
Have you?
Yeah, I sleep with it all the time. I always use it.
This is in the top 10 crystals of all time. Selenite is fantastic for clear ether or clear energy in your etheric field. There's so much I could tell you about what to do with selenite. I'm going to drop it, but it'd be good if you can have any selenite, even if it's a small bit of selenite, like right next to you at night.
You can get little chips of it and
Yeah. Now, where were we? We've done that one. We've done that one. And we've done that one. Karma.
oh.
So, I'm not a big fan of, say, the phrase, it must be your karma because something bad has happened to you. I don't like that at all. It doesn't resonate with me because not everybody who has experienced some misfortune it's some form of karma. I think a nicer way to state it is an experience that might inspire you to help or serve others as a result of you learning how to navigate that experience. Would you say?
Yeah.
What's your view on karma?
I think people's view it as negative. I don't believe it's negative. I feel like everything within the universe and on the earth has to be balanced, and so we learn from experiencing both sides. So karma really is okay. You've experienced that in another lifetime where you've done these things, and now you have to experience what it's like to be on the other side of that. And that's all it is. It's just everything becoming balanced so that you can bring wholeness into your experience.
Yes, some of the stuff that see, I've done an awful lot of work on myself in different lifetimes, and the stuff I've experienced in this lifetime isn't as a result of like something I've done in a past life. Not sometimes it can just be like a viewpoint in a lifetime rather than an actual karma. So it's more like you've been actually learning something rather than it being in a negative way that just because this has happened, that's because you were bad in a past life. So karma, I think, is more like it's like your navigation system on who and what you need to be aligned with. So it's almost like if your energy's getting burnt in one direction, it's telling you that you've got to let go, or you've got to actually fully detach and disengage. And we're all trying to resonate at a newer and higher frequency. We're all trying to integrate more light into our lives. We're all trying to be more whole and more complete and more connected than ever before. And everybody's going through it. Some days I'm so incredibly, what's the right word for it? In a level of perception that I can't see anybody else in. But then it comes back and it mirrors to me immediately the information that I'm getting. And it will come out of the next video that I've just clicked, or it will come out of the other members of staff, or it will come out of a phone call, or it will come out of a client. It's just, I was going to talk this morning about synchronicities and mirroring, even though we've probably talked about it before. And I think karma and alignment is directly connected with the new word, which is being low, and finding a place for your energy to go, which is like more graceful and more ease with each day that passes. But it's got to be aligned with what your passion is. And what you're passionate about now today, you might not be passionate about in 6 months' time. So you've got to keep rolling with it and keep moving with it and keep upskilling with it and keep shifting with the energy of what you feel interested to explore. It's funny, as you get older, you've used up the energy. So something that might interest you doesn't interest you anymore, and you're you're looking for where you can use the energy.
Yeah, people tend to clients that come to me that say, they're in a job that they don't enjoy anymore. They want to do something more spiritual, more connected, and they think that if they do that, then everything will be okay. And I'm trying to remind people that you can do that, and you can get into it, and you can do it for a few years. But then at some point, you're going to want to go on to something else. It's consistent. Doesn't matter what it is. You just got to follow where you're the most passionate, where it is, because then you're in alignment with the essence of you. But people tend to think, if I can do a spiritual thing, then it's like, yes, do it, take that leap, but then don't think that that's where you're going to stay forever. You've got to up level. Find business mentors that can help you up level when you don't know how to up level yourself, right? So it's like consistently moving up.
Yeah, and I think we always need somebody around us that we can run things past. And I call it a spotter. I got words for everything. So something I'm sensing or perceiving sometimes has such a depth to it, I can't necessarily, it gets confusing because you think to yourself, well, is it this or is it that?
Yeah.
And so it's always great to have somebody who practices in the field in a slightly different way to you, or has more experience than you, and leverage that connection you've got with them.
Yeah.
We all need mentors.
We do.
We don't need them all the time. A good mentor is someone that can teach you some stuff, leave you to your own devices, be there whenever you need them, but has a detachment to what it is that you're actually trying to do or create.
Yeah, because you need to allow someone to take what they've learned and do whatever they need to do with it. We can't be there every step of the way.
And so we're both teachers.
We are.
And
we help each other. We all help each other.
Yes, we do. We have a good community in here.
Yeah.
I might just talk a tiny little bit more about 2 other crystal frequencies. 3. So the first one, because we're actually going through a higher chakra upgrade as well, and this is connected to, this is Charai, and this is Shungite, and this is Apophyllite. And Charai is a really good crystal for working through your 4th eye and 3rd eye. And some people don't know what the 4th eye and the 3rd eye, they know what the 3rd eye is. But the 4th eye is actually right at the back of your head. And it's where information comes down and you receive it first. And when you're thinking like inspiring ideas, or you're tuning into a painting, or you're receiving your psychic information, or you're channeling words, or you're coming together with a plan, or you're actually trying to receive some inspiring ideas, it comes in through the 4th chakra, which is at the back of, it's your 4th eye at the back of your head. And Charai is the main crystal for receiving or improving that ability to sense and perceive information from higher consciousness. And everything comes out of the ether. Every idea you've ever come up with, every way you've wanted to live your life and your reality has come as an inspired piece of information. It comes out of the ethers from the higher dimensions and gets received by the back of your brain. So if you want to get clear about your direction moving forward, I would suggest that you use Charai. And if Sugilite is a wisdom crystal, so if you're really trying to bring through teachings or profound levels of new inspirational content, then I would suggest working with Shungite. Now, the Stellar Gateway is going through an upgrade as well, which I would suggest you use Apophyllite for. Apophyllite is a totally different crystal frequency to working with quartz. Quartz is just an amplifier, but Apophyllite has this very angelic, higher ascended master goddess energy to it. It's archangelic. It's about pulling down the higher realms of light, and in order for us to transmute some of the collective fear-based consciousness that we get coming up with all the stuff that's happening with the earth and climate change, people suffering, we actually need to align our energy with higher frequencies of light, higher dimensions of light, and apophyllite is a good crystal to place either up in your crown chakra or up in your stellar gateway, and lie with it in bed and actually pull that energy signature through. And have you worked with apophyllite?
No,
Oh,
I haven't. But I can feel the energy, and that's why I was holding it a minute ago. It feels nice to run it through the energy field, yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful frequency of crystal. So
Yeah.
you can buy a little piece of it. A little piece is absolutely fine. These are a bit bigger. Does anybody have any questions? Not today.
We covered a lot today.
Yeah. That was quite a deep. I could feel how heavy the energy was when I was. It was hard for me to actually talk about all those bits and pieces to do with what's happening collectively. But I think it's important to speak about not just what's happening with sacred space. It's more about how we can serve in the future, how we can help each other, how we can come together as community, and how we can reduce our impact on Mother Nature for the future. And also I'm being reminded that people need to align themselves with non-egoically driven purposes.
Yes.
It's not about what you're going to get, it's about what you actually can give.
Yeah, it makes everything feel really, when we all do it, there's nothing wrong with it, but when you think about what people are trying to manifest in their life, it all feels very small compared to the grand scheme of things.
Yes. So I have a group going through my training soon, 21st of January. I have a training program called the Quantum Leap Transformation Program, and I'll just speak very briefly about what's in the program. You can go to louisewinchester.com in order to find out.
I'll tell them about it.
Okay.
I'll tell them because I'm a student. So, what it is, I did it over 10 weeks. 10 weeks?
No, 20.
No, 20. 10 sessions, 10 lessons, 20. And basically what she does is she'll take whether you haven't got a business yet or whether you do, I already did, and she'll channel for you where this business can go so that you can up level. So for me, I knew that it was time to expand, like we talked about. I'd used up all the energy of what I've been doing for a long time, and I needed to rise up to the next level. But had no clue what that looked like. So what Louise did was she wrote down pages and pages and pages and pages and pages, which I still have at home, of where this can go, things that I didn't think, it never came to my consciousness that I could do something like that. It clicks it with you, it's going to resonate with you, and she'll give you the lessons that you need every 2 weeks to implement that. So things like creating logos for your business, creating the marketing stuff, the behind the scenes stuff with the business stuff, the money things, getting the power on your website designer, one of the very best, getting the energy that you have, that she's created for you, that you've built together, putting that onto a website so that every single person that goes onto that website is hit with the energy and is inspired to work with you. That's what you create. So when you come out of the Quantum Leap transformational program, you come out not only yourself as a different person, because every single lesson you have, you've risen up, but you then created a website that's at the highest energy frequency that it can be for you to create whatever it is that you're trying to create, your business, your shop, your modality, your channel, whatever it is that you're doing, you've then got it at the highest vibration. That's what the program is.
And there's always an and. I'm a firm believer in empowering people with skills so that they can do things themselves rather than outsourcing everything. If you know how something is done, then you can manage it better. And if you want to outsource it, you can outsource it. But it's like if you can do it yourself and you can save yourself some money when you're setting up in business, it's really useful and helpful. So if anybody wants to talk to me about what's involved in doing Quantum Leap, please give me a call, and I'm happy to explain things in as much depth as needed. And then Laura is actually stepping up into, even though she's gone through a revamp, she is constantly up leveling, and she's working on a new modality that she's bringing through, and she's already taking students and applicants for that. So they've just got to go to lauraansell.global to find out more about the modality. It's called.
Well, it's the Living Light Mystery School, and it's teaching people how to clear timelines, pull them in, how to clear your energy field, how to follow timelines, clearing
Let's
childhood.
just peel that back. Explain to people what a timeline is.
Oh gosh, how would I put that into words?
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. In our energy fields, if you can imagine that we're a big sunflower where there are little tiny seeds in the sunflower, these are dimensional pockets of energy in your field. And sometimes the memory in your field goes back off through time. It either goes back to an event that is a repeat, where it's like, sometimes I see it like a daisy chain where it can loop through back into different timelines, and other times it's just going back into an event that you're trying to transcend in this incarnation. So we can actually exchange that energy signature at a subtle level in the quantum field by accessing the quantum memories of that.
Yeah, that's what a timeline is.
That's what a timeline is.
It's basically all the stories that you've lived.
Yes, and if this is the physical, and the soul is the records of this lifetime, the spirit is the records of every lifetime. So we work with spirit, as in your spiritual overlay, in order to access the dimensions and timelines that can shift or rewire your hologram to upgrade itself, and it no longer runs that frequency of energy. It no longer loops in that timeline. Sounds really complicated, but actually it's not.
Pretty simple.
We work with spirit overlay in order to access the information at the prime level.
Yeah.
It's like going in and rewiring the hard drive.
Yeah, because every experience we've ever been through creates who we are today, and creates the life around us to a degree. And if we keep having the same, like people that keep attracting the same cycles, it's because it's in your timeline somewhere. So we go in and clear it. You don't keep attracting that. Same with childhood and things that we've been through. So the work that I do is clearing everything on all those levels to make sure that you unpeel any layers that are in the way of you living your best self. So the modality that I do is I teach, because I do that for my students, I teach them how to do that for clients and for themselves, and clear energy like that. And it's going to be pretty epic. Yeah.
So there is a registration page, isn't there?
Yeah, if you go to my website, if you click on the Living Light Mystery School, then you can sign up. It's all there, all the information, all the classes are there. So you can sign up. It starts in June. And I am making a little collage of all the students that have signed up already, so little faces will be going up there soon. So if you want your little face up there, with all the up and coming students, it's going to be really great. Yeah. That's my idea.
Does anybody have any questions before we come off the call? If you want to post anything, I'm just going to pull in. I'm going to do an extra Facebook Live next week with Sheila, who's talking about psychic development and exploring your intuition. She has a course coming up, and we're going to just talk about clear abilities and what it's like to expand your consciousness, to be more sensitive, to be able to pull in information, to be able to navigate life better. And that'll be at 9 a.m. on Friday next week, and then we will catch up again in 2 weeks' time. Laura and I will be back on doing another Facebook Live. If anybody has got any esoteric questions that they want to give to us to mull over, then please drop us a comment on here and we'll pick it up next time. I think Penelope asked me about celestials and anhydros last time she was in, but she actually came into the store and we had a conversation about that. Yeah, celestials are one of my favourite crystals. I don't have one right now. There's some of these big ones over in the corners over here. And celestials are libraries. They help you read and amplify your ability to read the records in the energy field. And they also help you to channel information. And when there's a water bubble inside it, I would say that that is trying to help you to balance your emotions, especially if you swing in polarity where your consciousness is not super stable. So I would say bipolar would be a difficult, it's almost like there's a frequency or an electrical loop that needs to be fixed in the neurons of the brain, where it swings from one energy to the polarity is quite great, whereas the more unified you are, you don't really go up and down quite so much. So and then hydro would be great for that. I haven't worked within hydros very much, but okay. Any questions, anybody? We're going to go offline. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Just wait 1 second. Nothing. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.